Shalom, shalom, brother Darnall here.
Brother Azrael.
Coming back again with another video, third video of this week, man. We're on fire. It's gonna be tailored towards kind of what the brother was going into yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, go tap in, rewatch it. It was a very good video on resistance, right? Having that self discipline, fighting your temptations, fighting your devil, right? Without further ado, man, giving all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who we recognize as our Lord and Savior. He's coming back to save the scattered, right? The dispersed, those that have been led into captivity to all nations, right? The nation of Israel, who we see on the Western Hemisphere as mostly the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? The Negroes, right? The Negroid people. Shalom to the sister Elisa, right? I never knew really how to pronounce your name, but shalom to you, sis, right? You've been down for a minute. Appreciate your love and support. Today's video is going to be a good one. It's going to be short, but edifying. You know, the title is gonna be called "Saving Yourself for Your Forever Person," right? And like I was talking to the brother yesterday, man. I didn't want to have anything in the title dealing with the like saving yourself for marriage, or I didn't want it to offend anybody that is on the side of believing that sex is marriage, or the anybody that's on the side that believing that sex isn't marriage, right? But all in all, I think we all can agree that we should be saving ourselves for our forever person, right? That is what is going to be mostly geared towards today. We're not going to get into any doctrinal differences or anything like that, but we're going to tackle key practices or best practices on how to save yourself for your forever person. Because I know sometimes down the line, that road can get a little cloudy and hard for people, right? You got something to say?
Man, you don't need a counselor or a therapist or couples therapy when you got the brother Denal, man. He always gonna keep y'all on point when it comes to relationships, right? And being prudent and being prepared. So he went over with me briefly about what the topic was gonna be about last night. But other than that, I'm like you guys, you know what I'm saying, waiting and tuning in for a good one. So with that, I'm Azrael. Shalom.
Con man, recently, man, I just been trying to hone in on things that our people need out there in all aspects, right? Our job is to help feed the flock, feed the sheep, and trying to figure out the best things to talk about, the things that people go through on the regular, and that spiritual food, that spiritual bread that they might need. And I found this to be, probably a topic that most brothers and sisters deal with. I know a few brothers myself that's dealing with it, right? And so, without further ado, man, let's hop right into it. I'm gonna bring this precept out first. Just to kind of get it out the way here, right? We all know this one. Uh, 1 Corinthians 7-9. If you could read that for me.
Book of First Corinthians, the book of First Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 9. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn.
So one might ask, hey man, how can I stop fornicating? How can I stop slipping up? Right? What can I do that I'm not so miserable all the time? Right? And I'm trying to abstain, have some abstinence about myself. Me personally, one of the go-to answers, right, is to marry. As Paul is saying right here, he says, if you can't contain yourself, if you find yourself constantly sleeping around all the time, right? If you just cannot contain yourself, it's better to go ahead and settle down and marry. Yes, I know you probably have goals and aspirations you want to get to before you settle down and finally call somebody your wife or your husband, right? But if you cannot stop fornicating, if you cannot contain yourself, right, and not only give yourself to the person that you're going to be with forever, I encourage you to just go ahead and settle down, right? We've done multiple videos on righteous compromising and things of that nature. You might have to make a righteous compromise with yourself and your future goals. And sometimes you can knock out all those goals, but sometimes it's not in the order. Maybe you need to switch up the order. Maybe for you, the order needs to be changed. And the first thing you need to handle is getting you a spouse, right? If you just cannot stay away from fornication, right? We all probably know this scripture. And yes, I know it's easier said than done, but nonetheless, man, if you're just a person that just cannot contain, ask for the Lord for strength. If you still are struggling, find somebody that you won't mind spending the rest of your life with, right? And go ahead and get it done. Get married to them. More how can I say this? More I don't know, more intricate than what it is. Find somebody you connect with, find somebody that you're willing to do this thing we call marriage with, which is not going to be perfect, right? No matter how long you wait to marry somebody, when you get married to somebody, going from single to not single to becoming an individual to somebody's responsibility, and you're being their responsibility, becoming a husband, becoming a wife, becoming a father, becoming a mother, right? You're going to see different changes. So it's not going to be a walk in the park regardless, right? But I would encourage you to get married with the quickness, right? And I speak as a man. Some people might say, hey, don't listen to Brother Dunal, but what I'm telling you is right now, if you have a problem fornicating and containing, man, go ahead and get married, right? And walk on that long walk of what we call marriage, right? But I just wanted to get that out there. Now I'm really going to give you some best practices, right? Let's get the first practice right here, right? So let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus. Boom. Gonna go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37 and verse number 12. And this is a staple precept, man. We bring this out so many times in a month. We might just put this on our banner, right? But it's good, man. It's good. If you could read that for me.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37 and verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
Now, I know you're probably thinking this is more so tailored. You think I'm going to tailor this to a woman trying to get a man, right? I'm not even going down that road yet. I'm telling you to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? People that have this, for fellas, right? Have a circle, have a group that's on the same track. You don't want to, they say birds of a feather flock together, right? You can't be a man striving to save yourself for your forever person when you constantly got people around you that aren't on the same track of life, right? When your best friend is a whoremonger, you know what I'm saying? There's a scripture that says evil communication corrupts good manners, right? When you hanging around evil and you always talking about evil stuff, it will corrupt you, right? Every single time. We had a brother in a group chat. He left the group chat because he was just saying, man, the things that some of you guys talk about in here, man, is just, it's not good for my spirit. I'm gonna end up acting like you guys, right? Some people's spirit ain't that strong to deal with stuff like that, right? And so they, it's best for you to keep a circle that does this. Be continued with a godly man. Sometimes you're weak. It says, there's another scripture, another verse that says, and I'm just quoting here, but it says 2 are better than 1, for if one falls, the other is better to pick him up. have a circle around you, right? And you're all walking on the same walk. When you're think about it. Let's say you got a couple friends, you're all young men. None of y'all are married, right? Y'all all are trying to save yourselves for your forever person. Y'all all are going through the same things. These are the stuff that's going to happen, right? One whose mind is according to thy mind. All y'all minds is according to each other, and all of you guys will sorrow with each other. Man, I really want a wife. Man, you know what I'm saying? You guys will all have that connection, and instead of going out sad, you guys can be sorrowful together. And believe it or not, man, just having that circle, that support group that will sorrow with you will help you avoid that temptation, right? And if thou shalt miscarry, right? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be there to let you know you going off, or even if you think about going off or miscarrying, they're gonna get you back on the right track of mind instead of having somebody that's opposite in your circle saying, "Oh, you just did," so I'm gonna be real with you guys. This you might want to put the kids up, right? Because I'm not gonna get rated R, but we're gonna be real here. So if you have somebody in your group, right, just for instance, and we all have had that person, growing up. You trying to save yourself for your forever person, and then you got somebody in the group. Oh, you just did oral sex. Oh, that ain't fornication. That ain't whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop. You don't need to be around that person, right? Because now you start thinking, oh, it's not that bad. And before you did it, you done did X, Y, and Z with X, Y, and Z amount of people, right? You want to be around like-minded people that's gonna help you when you think about misstepping, or if you do misstep, you can get back on the straight and narrow, right? But you want to always be continually with a godly man or woman. You always want to keep these people in your inner circle, right? You gonna say something?
You said it all.
Let's go to the book of Second Corinthians. Now I'm gonna get into what you probably thought I was about to get into right there, right? So Corinthians got them bangers. Let's go to Second Corinthians and 6, right? 6 and 14. 2 Corinthians 6 and 14, right? This is a classic. You go ahead and read that for me.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and 14. Be ye not equally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness?
Right, man. A lot of you guys are having a hard time finding your forever person because you're constantly in communion with dark-minded people, right? I didn't say dark people, I said dark-minded people, right? What does that mean? You're saving yourself for your ever person, a righteous person, right? But you're surrounding yourselves with whores and whoremongers, right? You're surrounding yourselves with people that are fast, people that are only there for one night only. They from out of town. You know what I'm saying? Be equally yoked with somebody that is on the same thing for you. So if you don't want to get married right off the bat, right? At least get you somebody that is willing to save themselves for however long you're willing to save yourself, which is for each other. So until y'all make that forever covenant, right? Don't be around somebody where you get into a relationship and y'all get talking, and in the conversation you tell her it can be vice versa, but I'm just gonna say a guy because I'm a guy. You tell her, yeah, man, I'm kind of saving myself, and she says, oh, for real? That's so different, right? And she's acting all like that, like that's like she's seen a monkey riding a skateboard or something, right? You don't want to be with her, right? You might, you can teach her a few things. This is why I'm doing it, X, Y, and Z, show her some scriptures, right? But you can kind of feel her out whether or not she's totally with her or not, or she just thinks you're cute for the moment, right? You want to make sure you're on some when you tell somebody that it shouldn't be a foreign thing to that person. They should be on the same thing you on, right? And that's where it comes into being equally yoked. Because if you're not unequally yoked, again, evil communications will corrupt good manners. Same thing if you go to a different translations. I think it's evil company will corrupt good behavior, right? So having that company that is not on the same mindset as you, right, it will corrupt your character every single time. That's what the Bible say. That's not what I say. That's what the Bible say. You might think you're strong, but trust me, you ain't stronger than them temptations, right? We're gonna get into that too. You're not stronger than what, and don't get my words messed up here. You are stronger, right? You can do anything, you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. What I'm saying is if that temptation lingers, your flesh is weak, man, right? You gotta find a way to make that departure from those temptations. You can't be, hanging out with that temptation every day, texting and calling and FaceTiming that temptation every day, right? Take it from me, right? um, uh, growing up in high school, all throughout high school and whatnot, I wanted to save myself from my forever person. I got with this girl who I dated in high school all the way and to my freshman year in college. And I had my virginity, and I said we was gonna be real, right? So I'm gonna be real. It was my mindset that I was gonna save myself from my forever person. It was not necessarily hers, but she told me that she was gonna try it out, right? She was gonna try it out. It got to the point where, when you're hanging around somebody that's not on the same mindset, they might say that they're with the program, but at the end of the day, if they're truly not, it's gonna come a time where they're gonna say things, they're gonna do things that are going to guilt trip you, right? And say you spend a year with this person or a few months, right? With that time invested, you're going to false victim to this person, right? And what they say and what they do. You build connection and things of that nature, right? So it got to a point for me where, I said, I'm saving myself from my forever person. I was, dumbly in love, young, dumb in love. And what did I do, right? I said to myself, because this is what happened, man. This is how tricky it is, right? You get to, she didn't even confront me. She's telling her friends that she's sexually frustrated, and they're coming to me like, Ashton, you got to do something because I don't know how long she can hold on, this, that, and the third, right? And me, I'm like, man, damn, I'm depriving her. They're telling me she's getting sick to her stomach and this, that, and she going crazy. And so I'm in my bed, I'm tossing and turning in my head, right? Trying to pray and be strong. And then out of nowhere, I'm thinking to myself, I said I was saving myself from my forever person. Well, I really do want her to be my forever person. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna be with her forever. I gave in just like that, right? That's the enemy, right? The enemy comes to deceive you. He is the ultimate deceiver, saying, hey, this is your forever person. You might as well go ahead and do it, right? And a lot of us got the same story. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it happened for me, right? Because I was unequally yoked with somebody that was not on the same track as me, right? And that's how quick it can happen, right? And Satan's so tricky that she didn't say not one word to me. She said all her frustrations and all that stuff to her friends and to my friends, and they was constantly in my ear, right? They was constantly in my ear, guilt tripping me, right? But I say that to say, if you're not paired up with somebody that is on the same mindset as you, it's gonna be tough, and I speak as a man, but it probably will not work out, right? You got something on this verse?
I just want to say, man, when it comes to being equally yoked, you have to be bold for yourself, man. You got to be bold. This is where boldness comes into play. I know a lot of situations where, you know, where a woman may feel like she was swindled into something, um, into a relationship because she wasn't bold for herself. right? She didn't stand on what she believed. She felt like she owed something to somebody, or she felt like um, she didn't know as much as somebody, or she felt like she couldn't say what was on her mind, right? You need to get all those things out and be bold for the beliefs that you have before you commit to something serious. Likewise, for men, you need to be bold as well. Don't think just because she looked good and she smelled good and you like her accent and you like the way that you like the job that she has. Don't think about all those things and let it distort you from or deceive yourself from what really matters, right? A lot of times you can get into a situation to where you can say, you know what, I'll handle that later. I'll teach her that later. I'll tell her about that later. That's not that important. Even the small things, right? Even the small matters are important in the beginning. So you got to be bold and make sure you're equally yoked. And that starts with self evaluation, self examination, right? Examine yourself. If you haven't even examined yourself, you can't even examine somebody else, right? And that's key, right? Also, sidebar, um, you want just looking at the title of this lesson, saving yourself for your forever person, right? Forever person, right? Meaning before you even born, right? Because you read in Tobit, it talks about they were ordained since the beginning, right? So with that being said, the person that you're ordained with, you have to be prudent, right? What does it say about a prudent man? A prudent man looks well to his going, right? So you have to look well to your future. And the thing about it is saving yourself in all matters, right? Even a simple kiss, even getting to the point to where you can say that you've been in a bed. You might not have done nothing, but you just slept with somebody else, right? You guys made it just, maybe y'all passed out watching movies in the same bed, right? Maybe, you went on a vacation with somebody and stayed in the same hotel and had memories, and you guys might not have had sex. You guys might not have did anything sexual, but all those things add up because you got to think about, if this is not my forever person, if this is not who I was ordained to be with from the beginning, I am decreasing my value, right? Um, and that may or may not, a lot of times it may cause the person that is your ordained person, right? When you make that commitment, to devalue you, right? They don't want to devalue you, but certain things that they know will change their opinions about you, right? Because nobody wants somebody that somebody else had. Now, you might have been young, you might have, what I'm saying, you know, um, said that you was getting it out your system or whatever. But by the time you get to your commitment, right, and you guys talk and somebody might ask you about your past and you tell them the truth, just know if you've done too much, even if you do a little bit, right?
Right.
That's gonna scar you to where that person that is your forever person
And
may
this is what the brother trying to say, right? So
differently.
check this out. This is what the brother trying to say, right? We all know about the infamous car comparison when it comes to finding your soulmate, right? Some people say you got to test drive the car before you buy it, right? Y'all know us Bible believers, we don't believe that, right? We want it fresh off the lot, 0 miles, right? I still want the plastic screen on the touch screen on the dash, right? That's what I want. Well, I'm married, but you get what I'm saying, right? But what the brother's saying is, man, don't nobody want a car that was driven. Uh, Nonetheless, we don't even want a car where somebody wants the car so much that they just keep making trips to the dealership, not even to test drive it, just to look in it, open the door, sit down in it, touch everything, right? They sitting in there so long, man. They farting on the seat and stuff, man, right? Um, even you don't even have to drive the car for the value to seemingly go down, right? You get in there, you done peeled off the plastic from the dash, right? You haven't even bought the car. You was just in there so long fidgeting, and you just accidentally peeled it off. And after you peeled it off, you're looking like, oh, oops, let me get out of here because you love the car so much, right? And going back to the beginning of the video, if you love the car that much, buy it. Right? If you're gonna keep going back to the dealership to sit in it and touch all in it and all of that stuff, man, right? Go ahead and buy the vehicle, right? Because me personally, if I'm gonna go to the lot and I want to buy a car, I don't want no car that looks like somebody's been sitting in it every other weekend. Come on, man, right? And I think that's what the brother was saying. He also made a great point. Man, and it just escaped me. He had made a great point also. Dang, it escaped me.
I do want to say too, another comparison would be, and I tell people this all the time, husbands, you want to not be bitter towards your wife, even in the bad times. So that means you have to adore your wife, man. You have to, if you don't find yourself staring at your wife and adoring your wife every now and then, especially in early stages, right? You probably didn't choose wisely, right? Because you want to adore your wife, because it's going to come times where you want to say that you hate her or that she's annoying, and vice versa for women, right? So you want to adore your wife. And with that being said, she got to be something worth adoring. For example, everybody in their closet may have some Vans. They may have some Air Force Ones, some Chuck Taylors, right? Easily accessible. But everybody don't have red bottoms. Everybody don't have those super expensive Yeezys. Everybody don't have those Dior, Prada, whatever, right? So you're going to treat those a little different than you're going to treat your Vans, right? You're going to treat those a little different than you treat your ran down New Balances from high school, right? Even though New Balance is kind of popping right now, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're gonna adore one, and you're gonna be thinking about it randomly throughout the day. Man, I really like them shoes. You might pull up an old picture of you wearing them. You might go in your closet and might just stare at them for a second. You might pick them up, right? Because you adore those shoes, right? And they kind of put you in a better mood. And
right,
that's
man.
what your partner is supposed to be doing, right? You don't want to look at your partner and think, man, everybody can get this. Everybody had some of this. And those things are the ones that matter. So you got to be prudent when you're by yourself. And that's part of discipline and chastisement. It goes a long way.
Right, man. You gotta understand here, man, right? Like the brother was saying, you gotta pick a wife, you gotta pick a husband that's gonna be timeless, right? Timeless. What does that mean? Let's go back to the car analogy, right? Some of y'all, you want a new car every couple years, right? Because they keep coming out with these new models with the LED lights and the push to start and the touch screens, right? And the automatic features and stuff like that, and the hybrids with the electric and all this. But you want something that's timeless. What does that mean? Like, for me, right? One of my dream cars. I don't even like cars like that, but if I had a dream car, it would be a 1969 Mustang, the same one Tommy Egan had in Power, right? There's no Mustang model before it, or there's no Mustang model that can come out after it. I don't care how new it is, 2024, all the whistles, bells and whistles. The 69 is going to be timeless for me, right? I don't care if it's an old model, a new model. I'm cool with that 69 model. Ain't nothing beating it, right? I'm cool with it. I'm content with it, right? You want to pick you out a model that is timeless, right? One that you're not going to be looking for the next best thing, right? Like J. Cole said, you got to love yours, right? But nonetheless, man, let's keep moving on, right? Mighty analogy by the brother. If you can read this for me. This is another key practice.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 27. Send him to labor, that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil.
Come on, man. You guys know what the word idle means? Idle means pretty much downtime, right? Send him to labor, meaning keep him busy so he doesn't have too much downtime, because in his downtime, he'll get into something he's not supposed to be doing, right? I bring this up to say this, right? One of the key or best practices to keep yourself, saving yourself for your forever person, to keep from fornication, is to stay busy, right? You got to stay busy, right? When you're single, this is the time to be engulfed in your work, right? And I don't mean, now, if you got ears to hear, I'm not saying, give all your time to your job, make your job an idol. But what I'm saying is, this is your time to, really make a foundation for yourself and your future family. Be engulfed in your job. Put all that energy, all that sexual frustration, put all that into your career, into your savings account, building that savings account up. You get it while you're young. You stay busy, right? Build you a successful career, right? Take that time to keep yourself busy. That should be the time where you make time to go to the gym for at least an hour or two every single day, right? You don't want any idle time, because idle time is how you're gonna get in trouble, right? I don't care how old you are in life. I don't care what you're doing. If you're on the job, if you're at school, too much idle time, it always ended up in some mischief, right? I know for me, for a fact, in school, in daycare, right, on the basketball team, when we had too many idle time in any aspect of life, it always led to mischievousness, right? Keep yourself busy, right? I understand that God said it was not good for men to be alone, right? I understand that, but but we all go through that phase where we are alone. And when you're in that alone time, man, keep busy. Keep yourself busy. The more you're busy, the less time you have to fornicate. Con.
Yeah, Con, and also stay busy in your word. You know what I'm saying? Get comfortable in your word. How I knew I was ready to find my forever person, right? How I knew I was ready to get married, right? Is I stopped burning, right? If you can be strong enough to conquer your flesh and to stop burning and wanting to get married, that's how you know you're ready for marriage. I had got to the point where I was okay if I was gonna be a spiritual eunuch like Paul. I said to myself, I literally had a conversation with myself and the Most High in my bedroom, and I said, if I gotta make it to the end by myself, I'm totally fine. I'm fine with preaching the word and studying the word and talking about the word with other people. I'm cool with that, right? And when I got to that point in my life, then everything else came easy. Looking for somebody, I knew within the first month or so if this person is gonna work out for me or not, because it wasn't me no more, right? I knew I had what it took to be a husband. I knew I had what it took to be a father. I knew what I had what it take to be a leader. I knew I had all that stuff because why? I seek the kingdom first, and it was added to me. So at this point, I'm just trying to find somebody to match my vibe, somebody to match my compatibility, right?
Right.
And so I was able to, when I did look, I wasn't pressed. And then, a lot of y'all's problem is you're pressed and you're in a rush, right? Because you haven't became comfortable with being by yourself. You haven't became comfortable with just having the Most High in your life, right? And that causes you to rush into situations because you want to rush life. Because why? Social media. We see everything at an instant. We want everything that everybody else has, right? Become comfortable with you and the Most High, and the Most High, He will make it easy for you to find somebody, right?
Con, man.
Do a
Man,
little a stage of courting, right? And there's a right and a wrong way to do it. You can court multiple people without being a whore or a whoremonger, right? You could do it righteously and find the person you're supposed to be with, but you have to be comfortable with yourself and the Most High first. If you keep running at the dead end to dead end, You have to be okay and not be depressed and say it's okay if I don't find nobody. And the moment you do that will be the moment that you can find your person. Because I'm telling you, if you don't come to that conclusion first, you're gonna rush yourself. You're gonna say, well, this person, well, I could find somebody that has this and this, but I don't think I'm gonna get better than this person. So I'll just, go ahead and make the commitment to this person. Then you find yourself in some mess. Then you might do something with that person, and then now you want to ask the Lord if you can repent because that was not it. That wasn't it. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't marriage, right? And then you want to move on. That's why you don't rush yourself, and the only way you don't rush yourself is if you prove yourself. If you
Right,
try yourself.
right, man. And the whole point of it is to take your mind off of it, right? Right? Because the more you dwell on it, the more you're going to be given into it. Take your mind off it. We always, as boys, right, as guys, we've all went through puberty, and going through puberty, you had those moments where you in middle school, you sitting in class, right, and you're daydreaming and whatnot, right, and your pants get tight, you know, for lack of better terms. Your pants get tight, and and before class lets out, before the fire alarm goes off, before the teacher asks you to stand up and read something, you got to get your mind off of it, right? And that's all we're saying here. It's the same thing. Just like in grade school, you got to get your mind off of it. What does that mean? Go read your Bible. Keep yourself busy. Work on yourself. That's the time to get to the bag, right? That's because trust me, man, it's gonna be hard to try to get to the bag. You still gonna have to do it, but it's gonna be hard to try to get to the bag when you get married and you got kids, right? One, because you're gonna want to spend that time with your family, right? And you don't want to be away from home all the time. Two, you're gonna be more tired than you are, right? You don't even know it yet, but you're gonna be more tired when you have a family. You know what I'm saying? Those things are gonna come. So get to it now, right? And take your mind off of fornicating, right? But the brother mentioned social media. This is another cool precept that we've known about. And this having that idle time, it will keep you on social media and it'll keep you doing this. If you could read this real quick.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, 25. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
Come on, man. It says, "He that has no wife will wander up and down mourning," right? And so that's ancient times saying this right here, right? Somebody that's single, right, that has no wife. This is what all y'all look like, right? Late at night, scrolling down your timeline, wondering, I wonder if she could be my forever person. Clicking her pictures and whatnot. She kind of, nah. Well, I think I can deal with that. Nah, I can't do that. That's a deal breaker. Go to the next girl. I wonder if she's my forever person. You wondering down, you wondering down your TL and you're mourning, right? Right? Because you have no hedge, right? You have no head over your possession, right? Your possession, your vessel is spoiled at this point. You want to get rid of that idle time. Get rid of that social media spirit, man. Get yourself busy, man. Right? Instead of scrolling down the timeline, go on YouTube. Figure out how to start a business, right? How to capitalize off your taxes, right? How to write a business proposal, right? Find out something that you're good at. Learn a trade. You know what I'm saying? Keep yourself busy. Keep yourself away from idle time, right?
Yeah, man, because like I said, man, I had got to the point where I was okay with myself being by myself, man, for the remainder of this thing called life. To the point where my brother and my mom were telling me, "Hey, what you doing? You might want to go to the mall and just, look for somebody that got a head wrap on or something, right?" Because it got to the point where I was so comfortable with just being by myself, right? Other people wanted me to get married, right? And I just emphasize that just so y'all know, You know, and I know what the Bible says about women and how it's a reproach if you don't have kids, and you know you're supposed to have a head. But I've seen so many women not get comfortable with themselves, right? Not figure this thing out for themselves, and they end up in situations they don't want to be in. And now their emotions are crazy, and they have no rest because they can't fall asleep at night because of a situation that they're in or a situation that they had to get out of, right? And you don't want that to be you. Brothers, the same way. You don't want that to be you. So get comfortable with yourself first, and you know, and then, right, you can make that commitment.
Come on, man. Next key practice, man. What we're gonna be talking about? We're gonna be talking about shacking up, right? You should not be shacking up as this, and that's a key practice. That's number one. You should not be. If you're trying to save yourself for your forever person, shacking up is a no go. What is shacking up? Living with somebody, constantly being around them 24/7, right? You know, and trying to abstain from having sex with that person, right? That's a no go, right? And the funny thing is, people you find somebody that's in that predicament where they're shacking up and they're praying for the Most High to you know, to help them, to keep them strong. They normally pray this prayer right here. If you can read this.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Right? While you up there laid up, playing house, right? You same person be praying this.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Right? Here's the point.
And lead us not into temptation.
And what?
And lead us not into temptation.
Would they be praying when they be shacking up?
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
You're being counterproductive when you're shacking up and you're praying to the Most High, right, to lead you out of temptation, right? Matter of fact, let's get to it, right? It's it's not conducive for you, and it's almost like you're tempting the Lord thy God when you're praying for Him to lead you not into temptation. You're like, dang, is she right here, Lord? And I'm just trying my best, right? And you're telling Him that you want Him to cover you, to give you the strength, but yet you dangling that piece of pie in front of your face, right? It's like a fat person that's trying to lose weight, but every corner in the house they got something, right? They got a box of donuts on the counter. Open the fridge, right? They got tres leches in there, right? You open the pantry, they got Cheetos. Y'all know Cheetos has made it on the top 10 list for the 10 of the most deadliest snacks in America, right? You know, it's like trying to lose weight, but everywhere you go, you got these things in the house, right? And you constantly finding temptation, right? Just get rid of the temptation altogether. That means don't shack up. When the thought comes up to your head, if the thought comes up to her head, right? And somebody brings a suggestion up, and maybe we should move in together, right? It should be shut down right then and there. You don't even have to think about it. Don't even say, let me think about it, right? I'll get back to you. Right then and there, it should be a no-go, right? Let's get this one precept real quick, right? Because this is what happens, right? It's counterproductive to this. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10 and 13. Chapter 10 and 13. Because a lot of y'all will be like, well, it's cool, man. I made it here now, right? We shacking up, but God said He'll never put me in a predicament. He'll never allow me to be in a predicament that I can't handle, right? Bring this out real quick.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you but such as is common to man.
Right?
But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
Right?
But
You might say, man, hey, first of all these temptations that you're going through is nothing uncommon to man. Everybody has gone through these things, right? You know, it's a high percentage that your parents have gone through these things, right? But it says, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. So you might say, well, we living together, and God wouldn't allow me to be in this situation if He didn't think I could handle it, right? That's not what this verse is saying. Keep reading.
but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
The way you're going to be able to bear this temptation, right, to beat it, is the fact that God will always give you an escape, right? So the escape from shacking up would be to not shack up anymore. Go get your own place until you're ready to come together as a union, right? It's counter intuitive for you to pray to God to lead you out of temptation, right? But still be hanging around the temptation. Again, it's just like a fat kid, right? Trying to lose weight, but he has ice cream. He got 2 tubs of ice cream in his freezer, and he opens his freezer 7 times a day, right? It's counterintuitive, right? And so you have to make sure that you're taking that escape route when it comes to temptation. Con?
Man, quick story, I once heard an audible voice, right? Whether out of body or in body, but I'd have heard a audible voice. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy about hearing audible voices. Some people say, I heard God spoke to me. To be honest with you, you don't know who's speaking to you. It could be an angel, it could be, any type of spirit. But anyway, I was put in a situation where there was temptation ahead of me and I did not know what I should do. Right. And I may deep down inside may have known what to do, but my flesh had gotten so strong to where it would not let me make a decision, to where I was confounded. And I was praying earnestly, diligent, fervent, and heard the audible voice, and the audible voice just said, leave. It was a deep voice, said, leave. Got chills through my whole body, man. And from that day, I left. From that day, I'm saying, I never revisited the situation. Saying all that to say, you know, we need to act like we hear an audible voice in every situation. We need to act like Christ is in the building in every situation, that God is speaking to us in every situation. And when you know that you shouldn't be doing something, or when you know that something is going against your discernment and the wisdom that's given to you, right? And you know that you may have the opportunity to fall short or make a mistake, you need to be honest with yourself and just have the discipline to say no.
Right. I mean, me personally, man, it didn't take much for me, right? One, I knew that God told me that, well, at the time I was heavily in the church, and I really believed that it somewhere in the Bible it said to, not have sex before marriage, even though it's not coined like that in the in the scriptures, right? But that's really all the principle that I needed to know for me. Not only that, me personally, I always looked at it like, hey, look, man, there's not too many girls out here that I would want to have a kid with and be trapped with their presence in my life for eternity, right? Because whether you stay with them or not, you're gonna have to deal with them in some form of fashion, right? And for me, man, there wasn't too many girls out there that I wanted to be, connected to like that for the pretty much the rest of my life or my kids' life, right? And so, but nowadays a lot of people don't even think that far, and then when the baby comes, then they're having second thoughts and stuff like that. Or even when you lay down with someone and somebody's telling you, hey, now, hey, we married now. Now you having second thoughts, like the brother was saying. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you want to be prudent about this. And these key practices are going to help you, man. And this is going to be the principle or the staple precept for today's lesson, right? Last precept. Go ahead and bring that out.
1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 18, flee fornication.
What does it say?
Flee fornication.
At the end of the day, man, that's as simple as it is, right? You want to flee fornication. You want to flee from any situation that's going to put you in the realm of fornication. So what does that mean? That means places, things, people, right? You know, smells. If a smell, you know, sends you off into la la land, right? Social media, right? You want to flee all those things that are going to cause you to fornicate. Keep reading.
Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body. But
Right,
he
because
that
come on, man, because you got to understand, like Paul was saying, man, the things that we don't want to do, we do. And if you're truly saying you want to save yourself for your forever person, the sin that's going to come about, right, is going to be without the body. But make no mistake, right, is going to be counted towards that body. And like the brother was saying, man, you don't want to risk your value going down or your forever person looking at you sideways. Because stuff like that, man, I'm going to let you know right now, as humans, we can forgive. We can say we can forgive and forget and stuff like that. But it always takes a little toll on somebody, even if they do decide to stay with you, right? Keep reading.
But he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body.
Exactly, man, because it's going to stick with your body, man, right? You sinning against your own body. We got to possess our vessels with sanctification, right? Knowing that this temple is not ours. It belongs to the Most High God. And he created it only being meant for one other celestial being, right? Or terrestrial being, not celestial, but terrestrial being, a human, another human counterpart. Only, yeah, and so you got to understand this, bro. You know, well, and that's another thing too. But you understand what I'm saying, right? He didn't intend for you to use his body for recreation. I'll say that, right? And so we have to honor that and take care of that. And like Paul said at the beginning, like we brought out, if you cannot contain yourself, man, just go ahead and marry. Go ahead and marry that girl. I know you guys had a 10-year plan and all that stuff, and you had an engagement set up, and you want to get married in Bali and stuff like that, and you want to have all this stuff set up before y'all officially got married. But go ahead and get married, man, if you can't contain yourself. But come on, man, that's all I got. You got anything?
Yeah, man. As it says, you sin against your own body, man. A lot of times that's that feeling of regret, right? In the moment, it feels so right. In the moment, it feels so good. In the moment, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But as soon as the moment fades, you're like David's son. Dang, did I just sleep with my sister? And now you hate your sister. You hate yourself, right? You think yourself is dirty, right? You're thinking about things that could have happened differently to where you didn't have. You're wishing and dreaming in your bed that you didn't have that night. You didn't do that thing, right? You sin against your body, man. And that's what the Most High don't want you to do, right? Because a lot of these other sins, man, are not against your own body. They're to your neighbor, right? But when you commit fornication, right, that's on you, right? That's on you. And like I said, a lot of sisters, a lot of brothers get in situations that they want out of, and they'll forever be thinking about that situation because they sinned against their own body. Can't go to sleep at night because of a relationship that they had where they knew they was in the wrong.
Right. One thing about sinning against your own body, man, as long as you're living on this earth, your soul is stuck in that body, man. So like the brother's saying, is you know, it's gonna be stuck with you. Right. But I'm Brother Donald.
Brother Azrael.
These have been key practices for saving yourself for your forever person. I hope it was edifying, man. Go back and listen to him, man. If you're struggling, man. If you guys have an issue with fleeing fornication, man, turn this video back on, man, and get your mind away from it. But last but not least, we give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do so by way of His Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation. And we say shalom. Till next time.
Peace.